Okay, guys, I think the numbers are starting to slow down, so I think it's a good time to make us start. So just a bit of housekeeping before we kick off. On the right hand side of your screen, you should see an opportunity to ask questions. So if at any point during today's session you do have any questions that you'd like to raise, then please feel free to do so. I will leave some space at the end for me to go ahead and answer some of those. So please feel free to ask anything in relation to what we're talking about today. The second thing for me is we are going to be asking for a bit of feedback today. So at the end of today's session, you will see a slide just asking you to fill out some feedback. And it will pop up for you at the end of today's session as well. So please don't be shy. Please do go ahead and fill that in. Always great to hear both good and constructive feedback. So please feel free to go and add anything that you would like to there. And finally, a bit of an apology. We are missing young Jamie today. So unfortunately, he has fallen ill. So it will be just myself just chatting through with you today. But my name's Andy Barnett. I'm the Regional Sales Director for DocuWare here in the UK. And I look after the northern areas of the UK. So let's have a look at Smart Document Control, what it is and how it works. As I say, unfortunately, you are just with me today. Young Jamie is feeling ill, so he's unfortunately not with us, but hopefully he will be back with us very soon. So what is Smart Document Control? Well, really, Smart Document Control is the true form of document management. It's about getting those information into that central repository, really being able to control it, support it, and make sure you're compliant with all of that legislation. We get information into the system really, really simply through all of the major ways you would expect, right from being able to scan directly from those desktop scanners, printer photocopiers, type devices. Of course, we can capture that information off web forms and mobile devices, and of course, through those email connections, which I'm sure is how most people are receiving a lot of that information that's coming into the business. Now, we do offer you two ways of getting things in via email, both an automated and a manual way of doing that. So hopefully we're giving you all the flexibility you could possibly need to get the very best from your services in any way that you require. Once documents are in the system, we do have the ability to go ahead and authorize and index data where we can go ahead and capture that information for you, completely automated. No need for any of that horrible manual data entry that I know so many people have hated for so many years, of course. Once it's been captured and stored away, we know that we've got those documents organized. We can capture them and work with them anywhere on the planet, any time of day or night, using any device that's most comfortable for you. So maybe for the first time ever, we will have those millions of documents right there in your pocket, able to access them straight from your mobile phone. Everything becomes fast, simple, and gives you the most up-to-date tools, no matter where you are and no matter what job you're trying to achieve. So, of course, the basis of why we do this is to be able to quickly and easily provide you a secure document storage solution with flexible access, both on a computer and mobiles, tablets, so on and so forth. Productive collaboration across multiple different sites and potentially even countries, depending on the size of your business and, of course, the types of customers and people that you work with, and the ability to not only go through manual processes, but automated processes as well. So straight from the beginning, you can start to get a return on investment through people having to be able to be more productive within those organizations. It's one solution, but of course, it's got so many use cases. And I've mentioned a few of those today. So that might be as simple as filing our documents away, making sure we're safe, secure, and compliant. It might allow for collaboration, but of course, it doesn't end there. DocuWare is such a flexible platform that it allows you to grow and evolve the system with your organization. So that, of course, may start in a simple place. It may end up supporting the finance team with things like their invoice processing or even their AR processes. Maybe it goes into the HR team where we start to onboard some of your new members of staff, track some of their training records, or even support you with their holidays and applications and so on and so forth. So as you can see, there's lots and lots and lots of use cases available within the DocuWare solution. But the Smart Document Control solution allows you a really simple, really easy way to get up and running very, very quickly at a very, very low cost. Now, the beauty of this, of course, is everything is available within the box. So actually, rolling out a Smart Document Control solution could be as little as 2 or 3 days to get that up and running and live in your organization. I know 2 or 3 days is absolutely crazy, such a small amount of time for a software solution. So here, of course, we've detailed some of those areas that I've just spoken about. And of course, once you've got a solution in, we can go ahead and support your teams throughout their life cycles. So you might recognize some of today's challenges that are being solved simply by installing a really simple solution. The biggest one for me is some of those instant accesses, digital workflows, but most importantly, the secure archiving. We make sure that your solution is completely compliant with every legislation that you may need within that organization there. Get rid of those paper files and, of course, the chaos that inevitably comes along with those solutions. So, of course, digitization has now been made easy. So probably a good time for us to have a look at it. So for anyone that hasn't seen the solution before, welcome to the main DocuWare screen. On the right-hand side of our screen, you'll see our document viewer, simply the area where we'll start to see our documents as we start to process them through the system. On the left-hand side, you'll see what we call document trays. Now, these are there to replicate the idea of the in trays, the out trays, essentially those little plastic trays that we had on our desk once upon a time. And you can have, of course, as many of those as you wish. Now, the document that I've brought into the system today is a really simple contract. But of course, bear in mind, this is not a contract solution only. I'm simply using a contract as an example document today. Now, the first thing to notice with this document is it's been given a little color in the top left-hand corner. And this is done because as documents arrive into DocuWare, our artificial intelligence engine goes ahead and starts reading them. Now, certainly worth noting, there are no templates being used here. We haven't said you must get information from the top right-hand corner or the left-hand side or anywhere specifically. Actually, everything is available to them, and the system goes ahead and reads all the information on the document. So let's have a look at that. As we store that document away, you'll see that my index fields are starting to get captured on the left-hand side. Now, these index fields are completely customizable. So, of course, you can have as many or as few of those as you like. And if you see areas here that, of course, you say, well, they're not quite relevant to our business, that's absolutely fine. You can go ahead and change those. Not a problem at all. But you'll notice all the information has been pulled through, and we're able to set some things that are mandatory and some things maybe that are not so mandatory and a little bit optional. You might also notice at the bottom, there's some extra permission drivers. So of course, not everyone in the organization would be able to do this, but people who have permission to set permissions on the fly would of course be able to override automatic permissions that are set in the system. So let me explain that in a bit more detail. Of course, the system will accept permissions. So as a document is stored away, it will automatically assign permissions to that document, deciding who can access it, what they can do with it, what they can see and what they can't see. However, if I have permission to override some of those, I may want to say, okay, it's a bit abnormal, but I'm going to give Peter the right to actually view this document. He's involved in this project, whereas he wouldn't normally be. Or equally, I might want to give Fred the ability to edit this document. Again, he wouldn't normally be able to do that, but on this particular occasion, it's important that he can. So in that case, we can go ahead, store that away, and override some of those permissions simply by entering those people's details into the boxes provided there. Now, at this stage, our documents are stored away. They're in a safe, secure, and compliant location. You can access them from anywhere on the planet, any time of day or night, using any device that you're most comfortable using. So let's have a look at searching. So as I come into our search menu here, I can quickly and easily find my document again. And there it is. If there are any other documents that relate to this particular document, I can go ahead and have document relations available to me. So I can quickly find them. So let's say, for instance, I have this contract, but then I also get an invoice that's related to this contract. That's one that might actually build up and give us a complete file for that contract along its route. You might also notice that if I come into our version control here, it's grayed out. Now, our version control is grayed out simply because there is only one version of this document. And I am going to make some changes to it in a second, excuse me, which we'll see it update. We've also got a full audit history working in the background. So we can see if I come into our document, very little has happened. It's been stored away and it's been opened again. But the audit trail is starting to build. And again, you'll see that grow in just a few moments. Now, if I come into our workflow element here, you'll also notice that a workflow was kicked off. This was completely automated. It was very simple as it came through. The example I've used here today is a retention policy. So as I go ahead and store a document, it recognizes it's a contract, it recognizes the dates, and then starts setting retention policies around when that document will be deleted from the system and the retention for the documents that are related. Now, of course, in your live system, you wouldn't just have a 7-year retention policy. You would have a complete retention setup configured for you so that all of your documents are being stored and retained for the correct periods of time. So let's have a little think about that collaboration, that work rate, and of course, the audit trail in the background there. Now, if I want to make a change to this document, in older systems, you would have had to have downloaded the document, made a change, and then re-uploaded the document to the system. Now, of course, that gives us starting to get breaks in our audit trails, and things don't work quite as simple as we would hope they would. Docuware, however, it's really easy. We have integrated with the full Microsoft suite and have the ability to integrate with almost any product out there on the market. If you want more information on that, please do let me know, and of course we'll share some of that integration information with you. For the purpose of today, I'm going to stick with the Microsoft suite, however. So if I want to make a change to this document, I'll go ahead, edit the document itself, and I'll get a little pop-up. That's Docuware deciding what type of document is this particular document. Now you'll notice it's made a decision that it's a Microsoft Word document. So it's opened the document in a native version of Word. It is available to do that in both the local app, which I've used today, or of course, the Word Online version to use the online versions as well. Now to keep this really simple, I'm just going to say this is a change, and I'm going to turn that red, just so that we can see it nice and easily as it comes back into our system. Now again, I don't need to save it elsewhere. I can go ahead and just store it straight back to where it came from. I will get another pop-up in just a second. There it is. Just letting me know that, okay, Docuware is analyzing this document and updating everything in the background. But now if I access the document itself, we can see it is the new version with the red and the change that I made. And if I right click here and come back to our history, we will be able to see our audit trail starting to grow. So everything that happens is starting to be recorded as we go along the process there. The other thing you might have noticed is if I come into our version overview, I now have a full version history. So I've got my out of date version, and there it is. And I have my current version, and these have been updated. Definitely worth noting that not everyone would have access to these. So some people would only be able to see the newest version of a document, whereas other people would be able to see the complete overview. And again, that's permission-based and generated based on the hierarchy that's been allowed to those documents. So what we've seen today is a really simple system, being able to bring documents in, categorize them automatically using the power of artificial intelligence. We've been able to access these documents from anywhere on the planet, any time of day or night, using any device that's most comfortable to me. I've been able to make changes using our integration with the Microsoft suite. And of course, I've been able to stay in control with those version histories, those audit trails, and of course, any workflows that we want to put in place. So the last thing that I'm going to touch on here is, let's say we don't have a workflow set up, but I do want someone to check this document before I publish it, for instance. Now, in this case, you may have noticed our send request option. In this case, I don't need an actual workflow set up, but I would still be able to work with other people in the organization where I can assign them and ask them to approve it. I can write them little notes and things to say, please check. So again, gives you all the ability to work exactly the way you want to work. Now, of course, if I set that out and I come into our tasks, you'll now see that Fred has a task, and it's asking him to go ahead and check that document for me as well. So really simply, we've been able to bring things together. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So coming back to our slides, let's have a little look. A little bit of a case study there, or something that's been said from one of our customers. So thank you very much, Mr. Singh. Really, really pleased that you're happy with your solution. But hopefully we can see how even the most simple things can be so powerful within organizations. And finally, a good time for me to pass over to you guys for any questions that you guys may have. So let's have a look. Have we received any questions? Okay, so I do have one question here. How long does it take to deploy a Smart Document Control solution? So Smart Document Control is a really simple solution to deploy. And as I say, that can happen within kind of 2 to 3 days. It can be fully implemented and rolled out within your organization. So very quick, very simple, and no need for any long drawn out processes there. There is another question here about, okay, I think what you're asking me there is about mobile workforce. So yes, all the tasks and things that you've seen me use are available on mobile phones, tablets. We do have mobile apps available for all of those devices as well. So yes, that gives you the full flexibility of the mobile workforce there. Excuse me. I've got a couple of comments, so thank you very much for your comments, but no, I don't think that gives us any other questions. I believe Nick's on with me though. Nick, have you got any other questions there? I presume you can see the same.
There's a couple of questions here, Andy.
Okay.
Yeah, so how does DocuWare ensure the security and privacy of sensitive documents?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so how do we ensure the privacy? So we do have a full privacy setting within the solution. So you get a full hierarchical privacy setting that can set up based on roles within the organization. It might be projects that you're working on, or even document types. So those permissions can come right down to document layer. We can also integrate with your Active Directory solutions. So of course, if you have permissions already set within your Active Directory or Azure AD solutions, then of course we can roll those out and mimic those within the system as well. Nick, any other questions on your side?
Great, thanks, Andy. One more question here. Can you provide examples of industries or use cases where DocuWare has made a real significant impact on efficiency?
Yeah, absolutely, massive question. So I think we are very lucky. We work in an awful lot of different environments and a lot of different kind of verticals. But some of the ones simply that I've worked on over the last kind of 6 to 12 months, the retail sector has been huge. That's happened through simply storing away documents and giving the ability to access them across multiple sites, through to the onboarding of staff. Has been quite big in that organization. Another one that's coming to mind is a fleet organization. Sorry, fleet is the wrong word. Like a delivery company, lorries and distribution. They did a lot of POD management, where of course they're managing the deliveries, they're managing the proof of delivery, and of course marrying it up with invoices and things that need to go along and make sure that they're invoicing for the work that they're carrying out. So just two examples that are kind of fresh on my head there. Another one would be in the finance industry, where of course it was very, very compliant driven, because we're dealing with people's passports, proof of address, proof of identity, so on and so forth. So yeah, very, very secure from a point of view there.
That's it, actually, Andy. So you can wrap up if you like.
Not a problem at all. So I do have one other question that's just come in. How does the integration layer of DocuWare enables communication data exchange between the DMS and other systems such as SAP and SharePoint. So we do have 4 ways of major integration. So firstly, of course, we can do simple data transfers using things like CSV files that get exported out of the ERP or CRM and imported into DocuWare, or equally out of DocuWare and into, excuse me, the third-party solution. We do have local database connectors that are available for on-premise solutions. So when the third-party solution is an on-premise solution, then of course we can use local database connectors to make sure that we're pulling the database information through into DocuWare, and of course vice versa. And then finally, we have 2 ways of integrating through the API. So we can use an iPaaS platform. Some of you may be aware of Make.com. That's the main iPaaS platform that we use. That's really simple, low code, no code integration with literally thousands of third-party platforms. And then we do offer an open API as well, using both REST and SOAP APIs. So if you want to have more bespoke type integrations to pass that data bidirectionally, then of course that's perfectly possible as well. So Adam, thanks for your question. Hopefully that covers that off for you. That is the final question that's come in for us today that I can see. So if Nick doesn't have any others, then I will stick around for another few minutes if anyone does have any questions. But if anyone has any others they'd like to raise externally, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, and I'll be very happy to help in any way I can. Finally, just a quick reminder that we do welcome any feedback possible. So please go ahead and answer any of the questions at the end. That would be much appreciated. And of course, we are always looking to learn. So thank you again for your attention. And finally, again, a big thank you from me for taking the time. It's been quite a quick one today, but always good to speak to people. Always good to have you with in our company. So if you do have any points or anything that you'd like to raise, please do reach out to me directly. As I say, my name's been Andy, and I've been the host of today's webinar. So thank you very much for your time. As I say, I will stick around for a few minutes, but failing that, have a wonderful day.